freedom of opinion and expression. This is bound by the Sharia in Islam, but probably in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, people can express themselves, even if that would mean some points of disagreement or controversy regarding certain points of morals and so on. And some people have taken this expression of freedom of expression out of bounds, and they cross boundaries, especially when it comes to the rights of others in respecting their own value system or their own holy beliefs, such as when they step on, for example, they say something bad or terrible about the prophets or about the symbols of religions or what is respected by people. As these countries, particularly those who have tendency to greater bounds and they extend the greater bounds of liberty, they would think that it is permissible for you to go into these areas and to express whatever means you'd have without having anyone to hold you accountable for it, especially when it comes to religious matters. Obviously, as you think that democracy and liberty are very much respected in some countries, then religions and the value system in other countries is very much respected, and therefore we have to have a mutual respect in this regard and also express ourselves clearly in these matters in accordance with reason, with understanding, with the interest to have coexistence and peace and harmony in the world. This is very important. Unless we do this, we will go into conflict, we will create an unhealthy atmosphere for people to act in a very hostile way. I think at the end, it's not in the interest of anyone, and maybe all of us as humans will pay a high price for this. So respecting others when we express our opinions has to be very much sensitive to the issues that are very critical to other people around. And today is not like yesterday. Today is different, where the media, the means of communication, have reached every corner of the world. Even the social media, where people can discuss things on small programs like WhatsApp or on Tango or Skype or anything of that sort, it may reach to others. Even if someone puts a small clip on YouTube, and others will carry it and it will spread all over the world. Twitter, for example, or Facebook has made things known throughout the world in almost no time. That's why we have to be respectful and careful of what we say. Now, in Islam, we know that everyone is responsible for the utterance of a word. And the Quran was clear in this, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned in the last ayahs revealed in the glorious Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah says, لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَإِن تُبْدُوا مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ يُحَاسِبْكُمْ بِهِ اللَّهِ فَيَغْفِرُ لِمَن يَشَاءُ وَيُعَذِّبُ مَن يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. For Allah is what is in the heavens and the earth, and whatever you expose or express outwardly or hide within your heart, whether you express it or you hide it, Allah will hold you accountable against that. Now, that became very hard upon the companions, because they said, well, we might have at times some bad ideas, we may think of sinning, and how would Allah hold us accountable? That would be very, very hard upon us. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the second ayah after this said, آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. The ayahs immediately after that talk about the forgiveness of when a person commits a mistake but immediately returns to this. And even if someone intends to do wrong but has not committed wrong, then that person will not be held accountable against that thinking or just the intention to do it. In fact, if a person stops from doing something that he thought about or she thought about because they were fearful of Allah's punishment, they were fearful that this was not right, then obviously they will be rewarded for that rather than to be punished. If they commit that wrongdoing, for example, then it will be counted as one bad deed, and if they intend to do something good in return and would not do it for any reason, particularly if they could not do it, if they forget to do it, it will be counted for them as one good deed. If they do it, then they have the opportunity to raise it up to 10 times, so they will be multiplied for a person. Allah is so generous, and therefore, even when you have those intentions, to say that you want to say anything is very bad. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ made sure that we need to guard our tongues, not to fall in any mistake or to say something wrong. Mu'adh radiallahu ta'ala anhu reported that one day the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, when he said to him, Ya Rasulullah, أخبرني بعمل يدخلني الجنة ويباعدني عن النار. Tell me a deed that will make me enter Jannah and be away from hellfire. He said, لقد سألت عن أمر عظيم وإنه ليسير على من يسره الله عليه. He said, you have asked about a great matter, but it will be very easy for anyone whose Allah makes it easy for. تعبد الله ولا تشرك به شيئا. You worship Allah and do not associate anyone or anything with Him. وتقيم الصلاة وتؤتي الزكاة وتصوم رمضان. And you establish salah, you give out zakah, and you fast the month of Ramadan. Then he said, ألا أدلك على أبواب الخير. Should I tell you about the doors of good? الصوم جنة. Sawm is a shield, or fasting is a shield. والصدقة تطفئ الخطيئة. And sadaqah or charity will turn off the sin, meaning that it will wipe it out. كما يطفئ الماء النار. As water will put off fire. وصلاة الرجل في جوف الليل. And the prayer of man or a person in the middle of the night. ثم تلا تتجافى جنوبهم عن المضاجع يدعون ربهم خوفا وطمعا ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. He again took the ayah as evidence in the glorious Quran in Surah Al-Sajdah. Allah says, their sides will be turning from one to another, meaning they will be not letting their sides continue to sleep, but rather, in fact, they will get up in the middle of the night and offer prayer because they establish the salah, they spend of what Allah has given them. That is their character. Then he said, ألا أدلك برأس الأمر وعموده وذروة سنامه قلت بلى يا رسول الله. He said, should I tell you the head of the matter, the bone of the matter, the basic bone and post of the matter, and the top or helm of this matter? I said, of course, O Rasulullah. He said, the head of the matter is al-Islam, which is to submit to Allah's will and to single Him out in worship, and the real bone and backbone of Islam is as-salah. So salah is important, which is a connection. So starting with the belief, and secondly with salah, which is the connection between a person and Allah, and the top of the helm is in fact al-jihadu fi sabilillah, struggle or fighting in the cause of Allah, provided that this goes with the conditions offered by scholars. It's not a free hand to give anyone the will and the ability to fight in the cause of Allah, except with the requirements given by scholars in this respect. Then he said, أَلَا أُخْبِرُكَ بِمِلَاكِ ذَلِكَ كُلِّ. Shouldn't I tell you what makes all of this working? And indeed, if you get it, you'll be able to get all of what was mentioned before. I said, Bala ya Rasulullah. I said, yes. O Rasulullah, then he held his tongue and he said, Kuffa alayka hadha. Make sure that this is stopped. Keep this intact. Keep this inside your mouth. Then he said, Ya Rasulullah, wa inna la mu'akhaduna bima naqul. Are we going to be held responsible for what we say? He said, Thakilatka ummuka ya Mu'adh. O Mu'adh, may your mother lose you. That's an expression, not a dua against him, but that's how when someone is not aware of something, he said, Thakilatka ummuk, meaning, hey, be careful so that your mother may not lose you in this regard. وَهَلْ يَكُبُّ النَّاسَ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ أَوْ قَالَ عَلَى مَنَاخِرِهِمْ إِلَّا حَصَائِدُ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. Wouldn't be not the case that what puts people on their faces or with their noses first diving in hellfire, except the consequences of their tongues, meaning what they have said. So this is very significant. Now, I said this hadith and I need to make some comment on it, but I have to give you a break, so please stay with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. We've already given you the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in regards to the importance of guarding one's tongue. And of course, when we say this, we need to guard the tongue, the pen, any form of expression, because at the end, what is given to people, the messages you send to people will have the same effectiveness, whether this is done by a pen or by a tongue or by any form of art or any kind of expression, a photo, for example, a video, anything that you may produce or make public and express your own opinion in, obviously will have its consequences. Therefore, we have to be very careful when we talk about the matter of freedom of opinion and expression. They have to be limited and guarded. The other agreement between the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the Universal Islamic Declaration of Human Rights is the right of the person in contributing to the running of the affairs of the state, meaning to have participation in the general running of affairs in one's particular country or state, that has to be, again, governed by the laws and requirements, as long as they are fair and they're not intruding on anyone's rights, nor are they depriving people of their right to public participation. The freedom of security and not being at any threat or under any pressure when people have their own conviction of faith. This is important because as long as people are entitled to what they believe in, no one shall force them or coerce them to believe in any particular thing. Obviously, in the Islamic State, yes, you may believe in anything you'd like, but at the end you cannot express some of the things that are contradictory to the very basics of Islam out in the public because of the fear of creating some disagreement within the society and then probably leading to some hatred and then developing into confrontation. So in order to maintain safety and security in a Muslim state, and this is of course a challenge to Allah's law and to Allah's commandments, so that would be like a difference in terms of the details. Yes, we agree in principle, but when it comes to some of the applications, there will be some reservation from Islamic countries on the absolute meaning of any one of these rights and agreements with this declaration. So obviously it will be interpreted in a matter of a ratio, not an absolute application of the word. This is important. One of the other agreements is the right of people to have assemblies, to have meetings, to sit together, to establish peaceful organizations. Of course, that would be sometimes limited to some extent based on the circumstances. And the last piece of agreement between the two declarations is the right to have a rest from work, to enjoy some time off, some holiday and so on. And that would be done, of course, in accordance with the particular agreement, particularly when it comes to celebrating the holidays or the celebrations that people need to attend to. So you cannot have, for example, work on Friday prayer. People have to stop to offer salah, for example. Or you cannot have work in time on the day of Eid, where people have to attend Salat al-Eid and to celebrate and enjoy with their family. So that is the type of thing that we're talking about from work. And of course, that is a subject of agreement, but the days would be different based on the nature of the culture and religion and the value system being followed in any particular country. Now, the points of disagreement between the two declarations come from very basic disagreement regarding the freedom to choose your own religion and to change your religion. Of course, in Islam, it's not allowed for a Muslim to change his religion after being a faithful person, after having the conviction that he is a Muslim. You know, to change it is, as I said many times in this series, that you're putting things in a sort of a play with religion. Rather than to be unserious about religion, you have to be serious. And that would be very much the case with people in different cultures. Normally, those who tend to change their religion are very much people who have very strong doubts in their religion, and therefore you cannot express this in public. You may have your own reservations, you may have your own way of what to believe inside. Nobody is going to open your heart and know exactly what you have inside. But nonetheless, the general and main principles of Islam have to be respected and have to be maintained within the society by the Islamic State. And we always depend on the Islamic State for this. It's not in the hands of citizens or groups within a particular country to force these laws or to force these requirements. It's only the Muslim state that can do this. And of course, a Muslim state is not found in all the countries around the world. So that was the basic thing. The other point of disagreement was the right to have a nationality of any other country. Of course, some countries would not like to offer their nationality to everyone. They may make it very hard for someone to be a citizen of that country. That is their own choice. That's where the disagreement of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights with the Universal Islamic Declaration of Human Rights, because some Muslim countries did not like the idea of opening the doors for anyone to be eligible to have their own citizenship in their own respective country. And of course, I think that still be a point of discussion and controversy regarding this particular point. Another point was the right to have your own participation in the guilds and unions, such as labor unions and that sort of thing. Obviously, this can be done, but if they are not taking people towards challenging the government or trying to bring in ideas from foreign countries which is not suitable for an Islamic state. Now again, that is a subject of discussion and controversy. And of course, these countries, when this was done, was to safeguard the nature of the Muslim state as opposed to socialist countries where these unions and guilds are formed, or the influence coming from other countries, the capitalist, the socialist, the Marxist, and so on and so forth. The general agreement, as I said, between the two declarations is that the human being is dignified and respected, and we shall maintain this because from this particular point comes everything else. Your freedom ends and the freedom of others begin. Where, to what extent can you take freedom in the sense of violating the belief of the state, the belief of the people and the culture? in your own particular country or area, that is still a subject of greater discussion in this respect. Obviously, we will be coming into what the Islamic Declaration, the Universal Islamic Declaration of Human Rights, has to say on other things where there is a disagreement, because they will be, obviously, lots of areas of disagreement between the two declarations, which I will be, inshallah, dealing with in the coming episode. Until then, I leave you with Allah's care and protection. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا واسع العفو يا واسع العفو والغفران والكرم قد جئت مرتجفا من زلة القدم ذنبي عظيم ذنبي عظيم ذنبي عظيم وأرجو منك مغفرة يا ذا الجلال ويا ذا الجود والكرم